Hi everyone, it's Renee with Delaney Jane Cards. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to my very last hop with Team Tiny. This month we're featuring Clair Designs stamps, and I used the Doggone Christmas set, and here I'm showing I actually set up 8 different card fronts using my Silhouette software, kind of manipulated the images and layered them, made sure they're different sizes and everything. I'm just going to show you one card today, but I kind of wanted to show you just how versatile these are. You can do so much with them. And this is the image that I am going to go through. It's several images that are layered on top of each other. The Doghouse is its own image with the Christmas lights on it. And then I did use the paw print music notes. I put those on there. I put the dog bone in the doorway. I put the sentiment in the doorway, and I layered the dog over top. And I put the Christmas hat on him. So anything that you can do with traditional stamps as far as masking and layering, you can do those with digital images too. You just kind of have to understand what software you're using. I use 2 free programs. One of them is my Silhouette software, and you'll see I set this up to cut it out on my Silhouette, but I never did. I just used my scissors because you can do that. The other one I use is called paint.net, and you can get that at getpaint.net. My husband uses it to create like cop car skins for a video game he plays. So he showed me how to use very few things on it, and I use a combination of the 2 free software programs to play with my digital images. It gives me lots of freedom, and when I don't know how to do something, I can say, "Hey Kelly, how do you do this?" And he usually knows the answer. Sometimes he doesn't. Anyway, for my dog, and I do have the color cam on for this one because there is a lot of coloring. I will have a timestamp linked below in case you decide you want to skip ahead through the coloring to just putting the card together, which is fine by me. I value your time, but I know I like watching coloring, so I like to leave it in. Also, while we're on the subject of all of this housekeeping that we're doing, hashtag teamtinychristmasinjuly. Team Tiny is a group of small content creators, and they have gotten together and created advertising free content for you. You can hop along. There is no commercials. Actually, I believe maybe 1 or 2 of us, not me, 1 or 2 of the people on the team may be monetized now and may actually have a commercial or 2. It's kind of what we're going for. It's like one of those double-edged swords. You want to stick together and you want to grow together, but the goal is to actually just move beyond those parameters and kind of outgrow Team Tiny by becoming monetized. But anyway, I digress. The goal is to put in that hashtag teamtinychristmasinjuly, and it will pull up just a lengthy list of videos for you to watch. And I believe there were 4 different stamp sets, digital stamp sets that were used for this hop. And so there'll be plenty of things to choose from, all Christmas related. And I just thought that this puppy set was super cute. I did see someone color that little, what is it, a poodle or a Yorkie or whatever it is in the little sweater. I seen somebody color it, and it's so cute, and I can't wait to see all the projects. Anyway, I used some e-markers for his brown spots on this dog, and now I'm using some warm grays for the dog itself. And you will see this W3 here. The tip of it is like super white because it needed to be refilled. And you know that Copic refills, if you've been around anytime recently, are changing, and they aren't always available. And I forget sometimes that I have some. Well, I did have W3, so I did refill that one, and I'm super glad I did because look here, look how nicely that blends now. So nice, so much better because I filled it. So he's just warm gray and then like really earthy browns, the E40s, I think it's 44 and up that I used, just to give him some brown spots. For the reds here, I did kind of do a little 4-color blend, but just a real traditional red. This is, I believe, R22, and then I think I used R43. I think R46 and R89 maybe. I'm not sure. I'll show you, I'm sure. Anyway, I have been in Team Tiny for almost the entire length of Team Tiny. I believe they did one hop before I could get on the bandwagon. Team Tiny has been really good for me and my channel. First of all, it has introduced me to several very, very talented card makers and colorists and stampers and just very wonderful, lovely people in general. Some spectacular creatives that always teach me something, and I will be a little sad to graduate out of Team Tiny. I know that there's talks and may already exist another group for the graduating members of Team Tiny. At this point, I can't see myself becoming part of another group at all that is so similar to this. It started out with a very small, tight group of content creators. We all really worked well together and really encouraged each other to help grow our channels. After I put the traditional red down, I thought I would step outside of the Christmas scene as far as colors go, and I would make his doghouse yellow. I think I have fallen in love with coloring things yellow lately. I don't know if it's just because yellow is super happy or whatever, but I thought it would be kind of a, well, see, I live in Wisconsin, and we have like professional sports teams, and one of them may be yellow and green. And I, however, own a referee's jersey, so I can't say that I am affiliated or stand behind any particular sports teams of any color, shape, form, anything, but I'm pretty sure that's why I leaned this direction with the doghouse. So back to Team Tiny. Catherine Kelly and Sharon Luska actually had a conversation regarding growing small channels, and they decided to create this team, and Catherine Kelly had kind of taken the I guess the front running spot and put together this team. After I had already joined, I found an email in my inbox that said, "Hey, I am starting this, and I was wondering if you would like to join." I didn't see that, but I did end up joining the following month. So I believe this might be video 8 or 9. I don't know. It's getting pretty close. The 28th of this month, my channel will officially be 1. So the 28th of July. August 1st, 2020, I will say, was my heavy launch, my main video. I had tossed a video up on my channel before that because in this big hop that I had done on the 1st of August, I wanted to say welcome back to my channel. So I figured I needed to have at least a video up. For the yellow, I did pull out my blue violet, my BV, I believe 00, and I added a shadow with that. I do like that. I usually use it for skin tones, but I do really like the way that it adds such a neat shadow to yellow. So here you can see I'm just kind of blending that out, scrubbing that line of color a little bit with the yellow, and it just blends it in really nicely. I am not sure which color is darker. Sometimes I feel like the Y17 is darker than the Y19, but I'm just not sure. I think it's more golden, maybe. You have to tell me if you're coloring with the Y19 and the Y17, which one's in the darkest spot for you? I feel like I just kind of laid them on top of each other when I was coloring here. But I do feel like the 17 is more dark and bold. For the green combination here, because remember I told you about the sports teams, we're doing traditional Christmas colors with a pop of a few extras. So I decided the trim on my doghouse was going to be green, and I won't show you coloring all of the trim, just one piece, because I did the coloring the same around the doorway as I do at the top of the doghouse here. But I added darker colors where there would be a shadow. So like underneath the roof line, you know how there's like the trim and then there's like the actual roof line. And then there's a little sign that's like a bone, and behind the dog because he's kind of sitting in front of the doghouse. And on the ends, I feel like it would be darker. So I just kind of worked my way up to my darkest color just to make sure that I had all the shadows where I wanted them to be. And I'm just going to blend that out with going back through those colors, making sure I add shadows kind of around the lights and the strings. Nothing too fancy because it's kind of I mean, I have it big here, but it's kind of a small image. There's a lot going on, so I don't feel like it needs all that much detail. So I had done the doorway the same way with kind of a top highlight, and I'm going to show you coloring 3 of these Christmas bulbs, 1 in each color that I chose. First, I filled it in with the lightest color. I added kind of 2 semicircle shapes inside with the darkest color and then blended them back out. I did them in green, and then this is the same red combination I used for the dog's hat and his scarf. And here you can see a little bit better those 2 little shapes. The longer one does not go all the way to the edge of the light bulb. It is kind of a little bit away from the line. It allows this kind of depth and shadow just to kind of make them look a little more round, like they're popping off the doghouse just a little bit more. So here I'm putting this blue combination, and I'm going to add it to a couple extra spots. The little bow is also going to be blue to tie it in, and then I decided the little paw print on the doghouse would also be blue, so that we have that blue in 3 spaces. We have the red in 3 spaces, the lights, the hat, and the scarf. We'll have the green in 3 spaces, the lights, the roof, and the doorway, and now we'll have the blue in 3 spaces, the lights, the paw print, and the bow for the bone. So just kind of a nice way to make your image really cohesive is to add those in spaces. I heard somebody talking the other day about like pint and quart and cup. I guess it's like what is the most, what is the middle, and what is the least for color wise. And you know, we have the neutrals from the dogs. I feel like that doesn't really count as one of the colors, but we have this big huge bunch of yellow here with the doghouse, and it's only in one place. That's because it takes up so much space on the card, and it goes well with all of the other colors. And then we have these smaller bits and pieces, like there's more red than there is green, even though it's in 3 spaces. The hat and the scarf are much bigger spaces. I just feel like it looks much more cohesive. For the opening of the doghouse, I didn't want to leave it empty. So I'm using B60 and some cool gray markers to kind of shade it in just a little bit. And I print these with my Canon laser printer. You can color right over the laser printed images. It doesn't smear or smudge. I really like using my laser printer. It gives you so many more options. Like I could have foiled some of this. I did not, but I could have. Here I just went all the way to the C4, C2, and then I'm going to blend it back out with that B60 and fills it in. Just adds a little bit of shadow and a little bit of color, and it'll allow me to add a little bit of color to that dog bone without it kind of losing into the white of that opening. Here I'm just adding a little bit of shading to the little pom-pom on the dog's hat. I am going to do something a little fun with that the further along we get here. And then I'm going to add a little bit of shading to the dog bone. I just used the E11. It was on my desk. And I did blend that out with the colorless blender just to kind of lighten up the edges of that just a little bit. For the roof, I'm going to use some cool grays. I used warm grays on the dog, so I didn't want to use warm grays on the roof. So I'm making sure that I get all of the shingles here with the dark marker. And I'm going to shade this the same way basically as I did the green, where it's darker on the edges behind the dog and around the little sign. And then I'm just going to blend it out. You'll see here that I pull out, I think it's the C4, which also was super dry and I needed to refill it. I was like, oh, I can do it. Nope. I had to stop and refill it. And now it's much better. And I was mad at myself for not filling it in advance because markers blend better when they're full, just so you know. So here is some of the finishing details. I'm adding a little bit of white detail to these light bulbs. I think it just makes them come alive. And I'm using a number 10 Jelly Roll pen. It's my favorite Jelly Roll pen. I like the Jelly Roll pens in general. I have, what's the other one? Uniball. I have never had one that worked like very well. I know people have their preferences and people like them for different things, but that's the one that I like. And here I'm using a black lace pen for his nose. Now, I did print this on my Canon laser printer, so it was black, but a glaze pen is kind of shiny and raised, so that is super fun for the dog's nose. And then I just added a little tiny shine line. So here I pulled out some pattern paper. It's like dog Christmas themed pattern paper. And I thought this would be really fun to kind of make a card using this dog paper. And since he's bold and bright, I used these more muted tones in the background, and I feel like they go well together. You'll have to let me know if I did this okay with the bright, bold color and the more muted background papers. So I just had trimmed off some strips in different widths. Different length, yeah, all same length, different widths. And the back of one of them has that like brown plaid. Is it a plaid or check or whatever? Anyway, I cut all those out, and then I'm going to adhere them all down. And I started with this bigger one here. I used my ATG because it didn't ooze out anywhere. I'm sure these aren't straight. I am probably 100% certain they are not straight. But you know what? It's a handmade card. I could have like drawn lines and lined them up, and that would have just been so much work. Instead, I just, pretended I knew what I was doing, and I slapped them all down. Now, I am trying to kind of disperse the different patterns. There's like 2 Christmas dog print ones, and then this brown plaid pattern Chucky thing. And I was deciding that I wanted more of the brown pattern Chucky pattern thing. And then once I have them all down, I'm going to get out my little trimmer, and I'm going to trim all those extra ends off. Now, I recently got this Tim Holtz trimmer, and my other tonic trimmer, I always like line it up at the top. I'm finding that this cutter works better if I line it up at the bottom. So here I'm using my Marvy marker, and I like prime it on a piece of paper, and then I just pick it up with the nib of the marker and like kind of paint it on. If I draw directly on my image, it oozes out too much. And I'm not sure if that's just my Marvy marker or if that's just how they work in general. But that is a Marvy snow marker. When you heat it, it puffs up and it gives you this really cool like puffy snow effect. I love using it for like beach scenes and stuff. There's all sorts of things that you can do with it, and I adore that extra little detail. So then I just added some foam tape to the back here of my Doghouse image, and then popped it right onto my background that I created with all my little stripes. I believe my ATG ran out, and then I needed to use some liquid adhesive, and I'm pretty sure this is the last card I made with that bottle of liquid adhesive. I have gone through so many liquid adhesives in the last year, and I'm not sure what the next one's going to be. Currently, I am milking a couple bottles of something else just to get through. But here is that still shot of my card. Remember, hashtag teamtinychristmasinjuly. It'll be a clickable link. And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, give cards generously. Bye.